at the stage. Peace and welcome, whoever is in the room. Thank you for joining me. Um, Good afternoon, good night, good morning. Today is what, June 28th, 2025. And around midday this morning, I was just before midday this morning, a weird thing to say. I was prompted to do this. So I have a new book, and it's called Curveball Checkups, the Grindbook. And this book came out of me having a situation occur that reminded me about some things that I needed to remember. So before I proceed with that, I am Jillian Thomas, the Chaos Coach. Um, People also call me Mama G. I explained about that in my intro video. I did an introductory video, introduce myself video a few weeks ago, months ago maybe. And since then, I've been on a tear with between work and working on myself. So there has been a lot going on that I had to just work on myself, couldn't be avoided. And so, welcome to Thriver's Realm, which where we see chaos as opportunity and we thrive, and despite our circumstances. So this all came about from me leaving my job in February 2020. Well, the last day was February 14th, 2020. I was stressed out, overwhelmed, um, fully entrenched in survival mode, not knowing how to, knowing that that I didn't want to be there anymore, but not having the ability to figure out or know what I wanted instead. And so I was deep in survival mode, stressed out, exhausted, and whatnot. And I basically said, this is it. I have to go, not knowing that about a month after I left, what was going to happen with the whole world. And what happened after I left, things developed, a book started to flow into my um, consciousness, and ultimately Thriving Through Chaos, a manual, which is about being on your spiritual grind so that you bounce back quickly from life's curveballs and pandemics too. And essentially, what that book is about, um, just a reminder, is about taking responsibility for yourself and going internal to develop your connection with your inner guidance so that the stuff that inevitably happens in life doesn't throw you off completely. And also, from following your inner guidance, ultimately, you're able to function because you're able to tap into your intuition in the moment as things are happening, and understand, so to speak, what is actually going on so that it's not such a big issue for you. So, um, and I forgot to turn on the live on Instagram. But yep, so I forgot to turn on the live on Instagram. I'm new to this. I'm doing all of this on my own. But anyway, so the book came through, and it took me about a year or so after it was completed for me to be comfortable with actually acknowledging that I had published it. And so even though I published it, I did not officially launch Thriving Through Chaos, a manual, until um, September 2023. And so, which was approximately after a year after I had published it. So, and of course, when we create things, we don't understand what or why. And, but I know that it mostly was for me. And what Thriving Through Chaos Manual contains is information that I have gathered from my journey in a very entertaining and I must say well written and easily understandable way. But even so, if you're like me and new to this spirituality thing, you kind of don't realize that you're a spiritual being from birth, and everything that's going on in your life from birth to transitioning out of this realm is spiritual. And so it's kind of a thanks for joining. I forgot to turn on the thing at 6 o'clock on, I forgot to click the live, go live button on Instagram. So I was live on YouTube, but I'm getting there with this technology thing. So even though I had, you read or learn in this journey, we kind of, when we are starting to reconnect with why we are here or who we are as these spiritual beings that we kind of are beginning to recognize that we are at a certain point in our lives. Once we start to become aware of that the programming isn't real, it's like baby steps. Um, Somebody might tell you, well, this is the thing that you do, and this is how you are supposed to be as a spiritual person or as a person, quote unquote, practicing spirituality, but you don't really practice spirituality. You are spiritual, and spiritual can look however you want it to look, however, whoever you are. And it's kind of at least for me, it was a remembrance curve to get into, to remember to be in that space. So knowing that, and that wasn't even the reason for this new book that came out of me again. But I've come to realize that the reason that this new book came is because even as simple as Thriving Through Chaos, a manual is to read, like me in my early stages of really digging into who I am, I still had doubts about whether I was doing this spirituality thing right, how to do shadow work, that is there a right way and a wrong way to do shadow work? There isn't, but you question yourself. And you are kind of unsure of what to do, how to do it, and how to go internal so that you get that guidance. And it's an interesting process towards being comfortable in that space of, for want of a better word, spirituality, being embracing this process that I have come to understand is not spiritual beings having a human experience, but spiritual beings having a spiritual experience. If you consider yourself to be a spiritual being, the experience is spiritual from birth to um, transitioning out of this realm. Um, and so in with the realization in survival mode that this ain't it, there has to be more to life and so on. Um, there comes a point where you have to start doing some work and understanding how to, or remembering how to do that work is the process that we go through. And so I wrote this book, Thriving Through Chaos, and it was fine. And then I had and over the years since writing it, I've had epiphanies that have helped me to understand more and more why this book was necessary and how it relates to me personally. And in that last May, I had a situation where I'm going to make this story as short as possible. I had a delivery coming in and of a mattress. And where I live now, they don't bring stuff up to your front door. They just drop it off and send you a picture. It's there, and you have to figure it out. And I'm not accustomed to that. And so I was emotional, but all the time that I was emotional about that, I had this sense in my stomach that I should relax. I shouldn't take it too out of pocket. Just try to figure out my solutions because people who would have been available to help me with that issue were doing other things and couldn't be found. So I could have or would have ended up paying probably about $200 just to have somebody bring this thing upstairs. And but I happened on the third time I went out of my front door to make sure that the item was still there. There was a guy sitting at the bottom of the steps. I thought he was the one of the people who was sent from this moving company to help me. And he wasn't. He was just a neighbor, and he helped me bring it up, and he wouldn't even accept a tip for doing it. And all of this happened within like 2 minutes of the moving company getting here, and I ended up not having to pay them. Now, had I gotten, really over excited about this process and angry and cussing and so on, it probably still would have worked out the way it did for me, but I could have missed the download that I received after everything had been completed with bringing that process with getting my item into my apartment. Sat down to do my work because it was a 3D job day. And I started to get this download for a guided journal. And the name with what it should look like, and everything came through. And so out of that process, I have Peace I am Candace, peace Shadera, peace spiritual gems. Out of that process came curveball checkups, the grind book. And I'm gonna explain about the name in a little bit. But in the process of receiving this download for this guided journal, I realized, or even before I started to get the download, as I was going through the process of dealing with the fact that I needed to get this thing into my apartment before night, and it was too heavy for me to do on my own. I started to realize that if I became, um, if I got angry and I started to behave out of pocket, I could be missing out on something. And that was confirmed by the downloads, this download that I received, because it it was not in my mind to create um, a journal, and I hadn't started to think about what my next book could look like. And as I'm getting the download, I am understanding that chaos is opportunity. Chaos is not meant to hurt us. It is not meant to keep us in a state of survival mode. It's actually part of a creative process. And if we hold steady, when we hold steady, and we keep ourselves from allowing our emotions to get the better of us, depending on what's going on. Just be still and tap into what's coming through. That the universe is, from my perspective, ultimately mischievous. And depending on how you react to that mischief is how uh, the reward that you will receive. And so my reward is curveball checkups, the grind book. And so I this book is very intentional, from the cover to what's inside of it and how it's set up inside. So the cover is um, and I apologize for my primitive way of doing this. So, Curveball checkups the grind book. Grind book is a reference to spiritual grind on the cover of that Thriving Through Chaos is referencing. And on the cover is this kind of Kundalini dragon type structure with swirls that shows the twists and turns on our daily ascension process. We have the moon here, which is about going internal. The ancestors who downloaded this into me are represented by the aurora borealis, because the colors and the way the colors are um, set up are intended to represent the aurora borealis. And then you do the internal work, and the sun comes through on the back. And then the inside of the book is very intentional as well. It's very colorful. There are three versions, although I did an ebook version and a black and white version. There also is the main version is the deluxe color edition. And so it's a journey of ascension where through the chakras over a 7-day period. Um, so it's 12 cycles of 7 to be worked through in the book. And ultimately, what this is about, in a nutshell, curveball checkups, is taking the thing that most threw you off, the event that most threw you off um, each day of the week. And the first day of the 7 day period can start on any day of the week, whatever day you receive the book. And doing an assessment of that event, how the emotions it raised in you, how it occurred, how you reacted to it, what tools and strategies you used, if any, to help you to stay mindful, um, what fears, insecurities, etc., might have influenced the way you reacted or responded to it. And then there's a page to actually go in and do a deeper assessment to see how you might um, respond to tomorrow's curveballs a little differently than today. And ultimately, what you have gratitude for. So each day of the 7 day cycle has this is not working, has the image on the book, this is better, has an image of the cover dragon, so to speak, in the color of one of the seven chakras. So we go through the root chakra, the sacral, and so it kind of simulates a process of ascension through the root chakra up to day 7, where you do an assessment of the week. And then before you start the second cycle of 7 days, there is a subtle green page with a quote from Thriving Through Chaos. So you go through the 7 day chakra clearing process, so to speak. It's subliminal. And then before you start the next 7 day cycle, you're back to your heart center and working in that uh, in that sense. And so from cycle 1 to cycle 12, the whole idea is for you to be able to practice doing that inner work that Thriving Through Chaos, a manual, is about. And so it allows for integration of the work of taking responsibility for yourself, and following your inner guidance to build resilience so that you can thrive. And so it's in that sense, for those who have read Thriving Through Chaos, a manual, and are um, wondering, well, how can I do this work? I'm still not totally clear on how to do this going internal thing and building my ability to follow my inner guidance. Curveball Checkups, the Grindbook, is the perfect um, way to get that practice and to integrate the work that Thriving Through Chaos Manual is inviting you to do. So this is my introduction to Curveball Checkups, the Grind Book. It is peace. How are you? Um, Thanks for joining me, Guyana Carib Woman, GY28. I am talking about curveball checkups, the grind book, and it's available on lulu.com in color hard copy, in black and white hard copy. Sorry, not hard copy, paperback. Both paperback, color, and black and white. And there's an ebook version. And for those who have read Thriving Through Chaos and are feeling called to do this work but aren't sure where to start, uh, Curveball Checkups, the Grind book is an absolutely good, wonderful, um, awesome way to get the ball rolling. In here, I explain how to do a curveball checkup. Um, it's called How to Grind. And so it's guided from beginning to end. So, and I think it's pretty cool. So the link to purchase, I didn't get to do, I had so many moving parts. But the link to purchase will be in my bio. The deluxe color version is $26. The black and white version is $17.90. And the ebook is $10.98, just in case you're wondering. And like, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, whoever sees this afterwards. And thank you for those who have joined me. I didn't realize that I had to click on go live on Instagram. So until 7 minutes in, and I'm not even certain that I'm streaming live on Instagram right now. So a thank you to Shadera's Helping Hands, Spiritual Gems, and I am Candice for joining me on Instagram. Thank you, Michelle, for Diana Carwoman, GY28, for joining me on YouTube. I appreciate y'all, and I will be back soon. Thank you. Bye. uh, Thriving Through Chaos, a manual, be on your spiritual grind so that you bounce back quickly from life's curveballs and pandemics too. And then also get the guided journal to help you to integrate the work that Thriving Through Chaos, a manual, is inviting you to do. Get curveball checkups, the grind book, and that will get you on track. Thank you very, very much for your support and your attention. Bye.